Welcome everyone to the long-awaited Audi RS6. This is a cult icon, really, this car. The original RS6, then the replacement in 2013, facelifted in 2016, and now this is the all new model. One of the first ones on the road in the UK, and I have the pleasure of delivering it to its new owner and telling you all about it on the way as well, which we like, don't we? We like a bit of that. So let's get down to the basics. It hasn't lost the V8, and there was a bit of talk about when this car was in the thought process of people's minds of what engine to put in it. There were some rumours going around that it might be a hybrid, possibly borrowing the hybrid from Porsche that's in their, what's it in? The Cayenne Turbo Hybrid, the V8 hybrid in that, but they haven't. They've gone with essentially the same size engine as the previous one. It's a 4-litre twin turbocharged V8, and it's got, to be honest with you, it's got broadly the same power as the previous generation's performance model anyway. It has a few more horsepower, I think 30 more horsepower or so. Nudging it up to just under 600, and 600 horsepower is an insane amount of power for an estate car. It's no wonder that this has got such a cult following. So what does it feel like to drive a 600 horsepower estate? Well, as you can imagine, fast, but it's also really comfortable as well. It's obviously crazy practical, like enormous boot. The car is bigger than the previous one. It's wider. I don't know about in length, but it's definitely wider. I think it's 80mm wider on each axle. So that's a fair chunk. Doesn't sound it 80mm, but that's quite big in terms of car width over the previous gen. And it's because it's got these amazing box arches, like what the RS6 was famous for. So there was the early one, which I think was 2002 that came out. I think that had like those big swollen arches. Then there was the V10 one that had big swollen arches. Then there was the last gen, which were swollen but not like crazy. And now this has gone back to like the old school. This is like Audi Quattro levels of swollenness. So it's definitely been in the gym, this car. It sounds good too. I was a bit worried about that because, as we know, with regulations and emissions and all the rest of it, cars are getting quieter and quieter and quieter. But this sounds really good. It sounds proper muscular and like chunky. It sounds like a proper V8. I don't know how much of that is coming out of the exhaust and how much of it is coming out of the speakers, but just like, it sounds like it's coming from the back. That might be some trickery that they've done, because, you know, they're clever these days. They can trick your mind into thinking that it is coming from out the exhaust. I think a lot of it is, but I think it's tweaked on the inside as well to make it feel even more growly. You probably won't be able to hear too much of it from where you're sitting, but you'll just have to take my word from it. It sounds very, very good. And I'm the first to criticise a manufacturer for making a car sound rubbish. So, inside, it's very similar to, well, it's similar to every other Audi, really, to be honest with you. Every other RS Audi has a similar sort of feel to it. The RSQ8 that I drove the other day, if you haven't watched that video, go and watch it. But it feels kind of similar to that to drive, apart from obviously you're seated lower down. You don't have as much up in the air road like king of the road type feel, but it feels really nice. So yeah, what do you want me to say, really? It's a brand new £100,000 RS Audi. Of course it's nice, of course it's fast, of course it looks wicked. I could just end the review there, but I won't, because those are just all the obvious bits. So in this one we have, again, like the RSQ8, there's an RS button on the steering wheel which turns everything up to 11 and goes into full lunatic mode. There is then comfort modes and is there efficiency? Surely not. Surely not. Yeah, there's an efficiency mode, comfort mode, auto mode, dynamic mode, and then two RS modes, which are configurable for when you're feeling a bit fruity. Press that button and yeah, go mad. Okay, so we're just in a 50 mile an hour area now. It's a average speed camera area. So I've activated the radar guided cruise control. Loads of cars have got this now, but it's so handy. You can set how far you want to be from the car in front, set the speed, and away you go. If they slow down, you slow down. If they speed up, you speed up. And interestingly, so I've just come out of that area. I haven't touched anything. I've just come out of that area. So the speed limit is now 70, and the car just sped up. It comes up on my head-up display. It comes up from 50 to 70 and then just speeds up, and now I'm going 70. So you don't even have to think. You don't have to even consider increasing your speed, because the car just does it for you. That is clever. I've not come across that system before, so that took me a bit by surprise. What else is interesting in here? I really like the new screen setup on all Audis now. You've got the updated virtual cockpit. It's like a bit more, it's not really any more detailed, but it's just newer graphics. It makes you feel like you're in a newer car. The screens are obviously really good. You would have seen them in loads of other Audis. Down here you've got heated and ventilated seats. You've got your heater controls, blah 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 blah. That's all of that stuff down on the bottom. On the top screen you've got radio, media, telephone, navigation, phone apps, car settings. That's where you can do your dynamic mode and all the rest of it. Audio settings. As you flick through users and weather, news, messages. That won't be set up yet, I don't think, but you can basically get the news on here. But there seems to be a pesky little car behind me trying to get past, so I don't know if he realises I've got 600 horsepower at my disposal. Ta-ta! And there you go, they are a little speck in the wing mirror now. So that's what you can do with 600 horsepower. When you get an annoying little chav in a bright yellow Vauxhall Corsa right up your backside, you can dispose of them very, very easily indeed. Okay, little update for you. I'm about an hour or so into the journey. The car has now done 85 miles in its life. I just thought I'd sum it up now before the sun goes down fully and you won't be able to see me anymore, and I'm sure that'll be a big shame for you. But yeah, the car is incredible. I mean, I've just driven down the M3 It's so comfortable, so refined. You can see why people like love these as their like main car, because it can do everything. You could easily commute to London, well, depending on where you live, but like I could easily do like a 2-hour drive in this every day, like a commute, and it feels like just a big, comfortable, practical car. But then when you want to have fun, you can drive around like your trousers are on fire, and it doesn't really matter, because it does all the same thing. It's all things to all men, all women, in one package. So it's great. It's a great all-rounder. Efficiency wise, it's actually really good. I reset the miles per gallon -ometer, and it's given me so far on this route 28.5 to the gallon. To me, that's good. I don't know about what you think, but I think for this power on tap, nearly 30 miles to the gallon, it is ridiculously good, actually. What else can I tell you? It's a big car. It is a very big car, actually, and it does feel its size. You can feel the width of it, especially if you're going down quite a small lane, or the car next to you is so quite tight over on their lane. You do feel a bit pinched. That's something that you would get used to, obviously, as you got used to the dimensions of the car, but it's just something to maybe bear in mind. The other thing that I will bring up to bear in mind, not that you can avoid it, no one can avoid it anymore, that's just the way things are now, is that while screens look nice, I'm talking to every manufacturer here, not just Audi, but every manufacturer is going this route. Whilst they look nice, having everything on a screen, it means you're taking your eyes off the road for so much longer, and you end up like ploughing into another car. And that's not ideal, because you don't want to do that. All you want to do is program your sat nav, or change your radio station, or turn your heated seat on, or whatever you want to do. But because nothing is on a knob or a switch or a dial, you can't feel for it. You have to actually look down there for far too long. Obviously, as you got more and more used to the car, you'd have a general idea of where it was straight away, so you could go to it quicker, but it's still not quicker than just using an actual like button. What was the matter with buttons? They worked. What else? Yeah, I mean, to summarise, it's everything that you would want in a car. I think the only problem with this car is its own competition, in like its in-house competition. So you've got the RS6. You also from Audi have the RSQ8. Sorry, there's an absolute buffoon in front of me in an A1. So yeah, as I was saying, you've got this versus RSQ8. They are both very fast, very comfortable, very modern, very nice looking, very powerful Audis. They are both pretty much the same price. They will both take the same amount of people and the same amount of luggage. So how do you choose one more than the other? I guess if you like an SUV shape, or if you like a estate shape. Let's face it, everyone's in SUVs now, so does that mean everyone's going to buy the RSQ8 instead of the RS6? I don't know, because it's got such a following. You would think that people would just choose this one because it's the RS6. But in terms of other rivals, you've got the Mercedes E-Class, E63s. That's a very quick car, very fast car, very luxurious car, nice interior again, and now four-wheel drive. Sorry, it's a traffic announcement. And now four-wheel drive. You have got the BMW M5, which again, all of the above, and now four-wheel drive. So there's a lot more competition out there now. But the M5 doesn't come in an estate. The E63 Estate looks ugly. This is the best looking estate car in the world. Like, that's the end of it, as far as I'm concerned anyway. The Porsche Taycan, no, the Porsche Panamera Sport Turismo is a nice car, but I think this is actually better looking. I think it's more brutish, you know. It looks more hardcore. They've really nailed it with the looks, like they did with the old car. It looks very aggressive. So yeah, I mean, the competition isn't as easy as it used to be for Audi when they had the RS6 in the olden days. There's more rivals out there now, and some very good ones in their own house. So which one you went for is entirely up to you. This car is going to a regular client of ours at Premier Sports Solutions. We have sold him many cars. I won't say who it is in case he wants to be anonymous, but he's had, what has he had? A Lamborghini Huracan, a Range Rover Vogue, what else has he had? Oh, a Tesla Model X, which I'm actually picking up now and bringing back as part exchange. I'll be doing a video on that car as well, but not tonight because it's too dark. But yeah, loads and loads of cars, and that's quite a regular occurrence for us, because once we've got a customer, we look after them for life. And yeah, so that's really good that he's returning and buying this. So I spoke to him just a minute ago, and he's very much looking forward to receiving this brand new RS6 and getting out of the Tesla, which is interesting because probably a lot of people think that, hang on, electric cars aren't they the future? Obviously not in his case. So it's all about personal preference. And you know what, he might keep it 6 months, he might keep it a year. That's what we do. We allow people to chop and change. They get bored of it. Most people get bored. I get bored after 2 weeks of owning a car. So people do get bored easily, no matter how good the car is. So it's always good to have the option to be able to swap in, swap out, enjoy the cars whilst we have them, because these petrol cars will not be allowed to be around very long. So anyway, to stop me rambling, I shall sign off this video. Keep a lookout on the YouTube channel and the Instagram channel for forthcoming videos. There's this, which you're already watching, so you don't need to look out for that. The Tesla Model X, there's a McLaren GT. Just off the top of my head, these are the videos that I'm going to be shooting in the next week or two. So until the next video, goodbye.